A passenger jet loses both engines over farmland. 184 souls on board. 8 minutes until they hit ground. The control tower has no answers. Then a calm voice comes on the emergency radio. I can see you. I can guide you down. The quiet farmer had a secret nobody knew. Comment your country before watching. Subscribe for more incredible stories. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. Maria Santos lived alone on a small farm in the middle of nowhere. Every morning, she woke up at sunrise. Every evening, she watched the sun go down over her fields. It was a simple life, and that's exactly what she wanted. Her farm was small, just 200 acres of corn and wheat. She had 3 chickens, 1 old dog named Buddy, and a red truck that was older than most people in town. The truck made strange noises, but it still ran. That was good enough for Maria. The people in the nearby town knew her, but not really. They saw her at the store buying seeds and supplies. They waved when she drove by. But nobody asked questions. Nobody knew about her past. Morning, Maria, the store owner would say. Morning, Tom, she would reply, pay for her things, and leave. That was fine with her. Maria liked the quiet. She liked being alone with her thoughts. She liked the sound of wind in the wheat and the smell of fresh soil after rain. Every day was the same. Wake up. Feed the chickens. Check the fields. Fix whatever was broken. Eat simple meals. Go to bed early. It was peaceful. It was safe. It was far away from everything she used to be. But Maria had one habit from her old life that she couldn't break. In her barn, hidden under a blue plastic sheet, was an old aviation radio. Every afternoon at exactly 3 p.m., she would turn it on. She told herself it was just to listen. Just to hear the sounds of small planes flying overhead. Just to remember. The radio crackled with static most days. Sometimes she heard crop dusters talking to each other. Sometimes she heard small private planes asking for weather updates. Maria would listen for a few minutes, then turn it off and go back to work. Just checking, she would tell herself. Just in case. In case of what? She never answered that question. It was Tuesday, October 15th, Maria was in her barn fixing the engine on her old tractor. Her hands were covered in oil. Her shirt was dirty. She was trying to replace a broken belt when the radio suddenly came to life. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Maria's hands stopped moving. That word, Mayday, it cut through everything like a knife. This is Pacific Flight 227. We have lost both engines. I repeat, both engines are gone. We are at 20,000 feet. We have 184 people on board. We are going down. The pilot's voice was trying to sound calm, but Maria could hear the fear underneath. She had heard that kind of voice before. It was the sound of someone who knew they were about to die. Maria dropped her tools and ran outside. She looked up at the clear blue sky. There, a large passenger jet. Both engines were silent. No smoke, no fire, just deadly silence. The plane was gliding, falling slowly but surely toward the ground. Maria's mind started working fast, calculating without thinking. The plane was maybe 8 miles away. It was losing height at about 2,000 feet per minute. That meant the pilot had maybe 10 minutes before impact. 10 minutes to live or die. She looked at her fields. The corn had been harvested 2 weeks ago. The land was flat and clear. Not perfect, but possible. Maria ran back to the barn and grabbed the radio. Her heart was pounding. She hadn't done this in 8 years. 8 years since she left the Air Force. 8 years since she promised herself she would never fly again, never be responsible for lives again. But 184 people were about to crash into the ground unless someone helped them. She turned the radio to the emergency frequency, 121.5. Every pilot knew that frequency. It was for emergencies only. Maria took a deep breath. When she pressed the button to talk, her voice was steady and clear. Pacific Flight 227, this is a ground observer. I have visual contact with your aircraft. Do you copy? 3 seconds of silence. Maria's hands were shaking. Then, ground observer, this is Captain Robert Hayes. We copy. Who is this? Captain, my name is Maria Santos. I'm a farmer. I have a clear field that might work for an emergency landing. I also have military aviation training. I can help you. Another pause. Ma'am, with all respect, we need professional help right now. Tower is trying to find us a runway. Captain, look at your position. You're 40 miles from the nearest airport. At your current descent rate, you won't make it. But I have 2,000 feet of flat, clear ground directly below you. It's not perfect, but it's a chance. The tower controller broke in. Ground observer, this is Kansas City Control. Please identify yourself properly. Maria closed her eyes. She didn't want to say it. She had left that life behind. But lives were at stake. Kansas City Control, this is former Air Force Captain Maria Santos. Call sign, Eagle Eye. Service number 284-7963. I served for 12 years as a combat landing specialist. I guided 450 aircraft to emergency landings in war zones. Check your records. Silence on the radio. Maria knew they were checking. The call sign Eagle Eye wasn't common. If they looked it up, they would find her record. Finally, Eagle Eye, this is Control Supervisor Mitchell. Your records check out. Captain Hayes, the decision is yours. Do you want to attempt this landing? Maria heard Captain Hayes breathing on the radio. She could imagine what he was thinking. Trust a stranger on the ground? Trust a farmer with a radio? But what other choice did he have? Eagle Eye, this is Hayes. I'm listening. Tell me what you've got. Maria felt something wake up inside her. Something she thought was dead. The part of her that never gave up, that always found a way, that brought people home. Captain Hayes, what's your current altitude? 18,000 feet and falling. Descent rate is 1,900 feet per minute. Copy that. You have about 9 minutes. Look at your position, do you see the rectangular field at your 2 o'clock? I see it. It looks small. It's 2,000 feet long and 400 feet wide. Your aircraft needs about 1,800 feet to stop on dirt. It's going to be tight, but it works. Eagle Eye, that field is dirt. We're trained for runways. I know, Captain. But dirt is all we have. And I'm going to talk you through every second of this. I need you to trust me. Can you do that? A long pause. Then, yes. Yes, I can trust you. Good, Maria said. First, tell me about your passengers. Are they calm? The flight attendants are doing their best. People are scared. Some are crying. Some are praying. We told them to prepare for an emergency landing. Maria understood. She needed the captain to stay focused, not think about the fear in the cabin. Captain, those people are counting on you to stay calm. And you're going to do that. Now, what's your current weight? About 165,000 pounds. We burned fuel trying to restart the engines. Maria calculated quickly. That's actually good. Lighter is better. Now, current airspeed? 190 knots. Perfect. Keep that speed. What's your training on unpowered landings? We practice engine failures, but losing both engines? That's not common in training. I understand. But right now, you're flying a glider. A very heavy, very expensive glider. Every movement you make affects your glide range. Nose up means you fall faster. Nose down means you go farther but faster. You need to find the balance. What's the right speed for this aircraft? For a 737, optimal glide speed is about 180 knots. You're at 190, so you're good. Don't go below 170 or above 200. Copy that. Maintaining between 170 and 200. Maria was jogging now, moving to the middle of her field where she could see everything. The plane was getting closer. She could see it clearly now, a Boeing 737, wings level, descending smoothly. Captain, altitude check. 16,000 feet. Good. Now I need you to start thinking about your approach. Do you see the small lake to the west of my field? I see it. That's your landmark. I want you to pass that lake at 5,000 feet. That will put you on the correct glide path to my field. Understood. Pass the lake at 5,000 feet. How are your passengers now? Flight attendants just finished the safety briefing. Everyone is in brace position. Some kids are crying. Maria's chest felt tight. Kids. There were children on that plane. She pushed the emotion away. Focus on the job. Captain Hayes, I need you to concentrate on flying. The passengers are doing their part. You do yours. What's your altitude? 14,000 feet. Excellent. In about 3 minutes, at 10,000 feet, I want you to configure for landing. Deploy landing gear and set flaps to 15. Eagle Eye, deploying gear will increase drag. We'll descend faster. I know. But you need to commit to this landing. No second chances. We do this right the first time. A pause. Maria could hear the pilot breathing. Understood. Committing to landing. That's the spirit, Captain. You're doing great. Now, tell me about your crew. How many? I have a co-pilot, John Martinez. He's been flying for 15 years. 3 flight attendants in the cabin. Good crew. The best. Then trust them. They're doing their jobs. You focus on flying. Copy that. Maria watched the plane getting closer. It was descending steadily, nose slightly down. Captain Hayes was doing everything right. Altitude? 12,000 feet. Perfect. Start your turn to line up with my field. Turn to heading 280. That will put you east to west. Turning to 280. The plane banked gently to the left. Smooth, controlled. Good pilot. How's the turn? Steady. Coming to heading 280. Excellent. What's your airspeed? 185 knots. Good. Maintain that. You're approaching 10,000 feet. Get ready to deploy landing gear. Standing by. Maria counted in her head. She needed perfect timing. Altitude? 10,500 feet. Okay, Captain. This is it. Deploy landing gear. Set flaps to 15. Let's commit to this landing. Deploying gear now. Maria heard the change in background noise over the radio. The aircraft's aerodynamics shifted. The plane was committed now. Gear down and locked. Flaps at 15. We're committed. That's right. No turning back. How does she feel? Different. Heavier. Descending faster. That's expected. What's your new descent rate? 2,200 feet per minute. Perfect. That's what I wanted. What's your altitude? 9,000 feet. Maria's mind was calculating constantly. Descent rate, distance, altitude, time. All the numbers had to work together perfectly. Captain, you're doing beautifully. Now, I need to tell you about the field. The east end has a small tree line. You need to clear those trees by at least 100 feet. I see the trees. Good. After you clear the trees, the field is flat and firm. The harvested corn stubble will create friction. More than a normal runway. That's going to help slow you down. Or rip off the landing gear. The gear will hold. Trust the engineering. What's your altitude? 7,000 feet. Maria could see people's faces in the plane windows now. Scared faces. Praying faces. Children holding their parents. Eagle eye, I can see your field clearly now. It looks very small. It's big enough. Trust me. You need 1,800 feet to stop. You have 2,000. The math works. The math needs to be perfect. It will be. What's your airspeed? 180 knots. Perfect. Hold that speed. You're approaching the lake. What's your altitude? 5,500 feet. Good. When you pass the lake, you should be at 5,000 feet. That's your checkpoint. If you're higher than 5,000 at the lake, you'll overshoot my field. If you're lower, you'll hit the trees. Understood. Target is 5,000 feet at the lake. Maria was walking quickly through her field now, looking for any rocks or holes she might have forgotten. Everything looked clear. Altitude? 5,200 feet. Lake coming up in 30 seconds. You're a bit high. Nose down just slightly. Increase your descent rate to 2,400 feet per minute. Nose down. Descent rate increasing. Good. What's your airspeed? 185 knots. Perfect. Hold that. Approaching the lake now. Passing the lake. Altitude is 5,100 feet. Close enough. Maria did the math quickly. It would work. Excellent, Captain. You're right on target. Now, increase flaps to 30. Full landing configuration. Flaps to 30. The plane's nose dropped more steeply. It was descending faster now, committed fully to landing. How does she feel? Like we're falling fast. That's normal. Your brain is going to tell you this is wrong, that you're descending too fast. Ignore that voice. Trust your instruments. Trust me. Trusting you, Eagle Eye. What's your altitude? 4,000 feet. Tree line is getting very close. I see you. You're perfect. Hold your speed at 170 knots. When you clear the trees, I want you to level out. Let the plane float. Use ground effect. What's ground effect? When you get close to the ground, the air between the plane and the earth creates extra lift. The plane will want to float. Let it. Don't fight it. Use every foot of my field. Copy. Let it float. Altitude? 3,000 feet. I can see individual trees now. Stay calm. You're lined up perfectly. Check your speed. 165 knots. Too slow. Nose down just a touch. Get back to 170. Nose down. Speed increasing. 170 knots. Perfect. Hold it there. Altitude? 2,000 feet. Maria's heart was pounding. This was it. The next 90 seconds would decide if 184 people lived or died. Captain, you're going to feel every instinct telling you to pull up. Don't. Trust the glide path. Stay steady. Staying steady. Altitude? 1,500 feet. Trees are right there. I see you. You're beautiful. Perfect alignment. Perfect speed. Just hold it steady. Holding steady. 1,000 feet. Maria could see the pilot now through the windscreen. She could see his hands on the controls. 500 feet. This is it. Stay calm, Captain. You're going to clear those trees. Then I want you to flare. Pull the nose up gently. Let the main wheels touch first. 300 feet. Trees coming fast. You've got this. Flare on my mark. Ready, ready. The plane was 50 feet above the trees. Flare now. The nose of the 737 lifted. The plane seemed to hang in the air for a moment, suspended between sky and earth. Then it cleared the trees by exactly 75 feet. Beautiful. Now let her settle. Main gear first. The plane floated above Maria's cornfield. Seconds felt like hours. Then the main landing gear touched the earth. Boom. The sound was like an explosion. The plane bounced hard, then slammed down again. The tires hit the hard dirt and stubble. The landing gear compressed under the weight. Brakes. Maria shouted. Everything you've got. Brakes maximum. The plane was sliding now, not rolling smoothly but plowing through the field. Dirt flew up. Stubble tore away. The friction was enormous. Maria watched in terror as the plane ate up her field. 500 feet. 1,000 feet. 1,500 feet. The western tree line was getting closer. Too close. You're at 1,800 feet. Maria yelled. Still moving fast. Brakes are maxed. We're not stopping. Then Maria remembered. The drainage ditch. There was a slight dip at the far end of her field where water drained. Just a small slope, maybe 2 degrees. But at this speed, every degree mattered. The plane hit the slope and pitched forward. The nose gear compressed hard. The extra angle created more friction. The plane was slowing. 60 knots. 50 knots. 40 knots. It stopped 150 feet from the trees. Complete silence. Maria stood in her field, frozen. The plane sat there, nose gear bent, covered in dirt, but intact. No fire. No explosion. Just a very dirty airplane sitting in a cornfield. Then the emergency doors flew open. Yellow slides deployed. People started coming out. Maria counted. 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100. She counted every single person. 184 people sliding down, falling into the dirt, crying, laughing, screaming with relief. Everyone. Every single person was alive. Maria started walking toward the plane. Her legs felt weak. Her hands were shaking. She had done it. They had done it. Captain Hayes came down the slide. His uniform was soaked with sweat. His face was pale. He saw Maria and walked straight to her. Your eagle eye. I'm Maria. The farmer. Captain Hayes just stared. Maria was wearing old jeans, work boots, and a dirty shirt. She had grease on her face. You're the military expert who just saved 184 lives. You did the flying, Captain. I just helped. I just helped. His voice cracked. You talked me down from 20,000 feet onto a dirt field. Everyone is alive. Everyone. He grabbed her hand and shook it hard. Thank you. Thank you so much. People were gathering around now. Passengers who had just escaped death. They looked at Maria with confusion and wonder. This is the person who saved us, someone asked. She's a farmer, someone else said. She's also a former Air Force captain, Hayes said loudly. Call sign Eagle Eye. She guided 450 emergency landings in combat zones. And today, she just did number 451. The crowd was silent. Then someone started clapping. Then everyone was clapping. Some people were crying. Some were laughing. Everyone was alive. A pregnant woman came forward. She was crying. You saved my baby. I'm 7 months pregnant. I thought my child would never be born. You saved us both. Maria didn't know what to say. She never wanted this attention. She just wanted to help. An old man grabbed her hand. I'm 79 years old. I was ready to die today. Thank you for giving me more time. A young mother with 2 small children hugged her. Thank you for saving my babies. One by one, passengers came to her. Each one with tears. Each one with gratitude. Maria felt overwhelmed. Then she heard sirens. Fire trucks, ambulances, police cars. They came racing down the dirt road to her farm. The emergency crews looked shocked to see a plane sitting in a cornfield with everyone standing around alive. Within an hour, news helicopters were circling overhead. Reporters were arriving. Federal investigators were on their way. Captain Hayes stayed by Maria's side. The news is going to be big, he said. You just did something impossible. It wasn't impossible. It was just difficult. Eagle Eye, I looked up your military record while the paramedics were checking the passengers. You didn't just guide 450 landings. You never lost a single aircraft. Not one. They called you Eagle Eye because you could see solutions nobody else could see. That was a long time ago. Was it? Because from where I'm standing, Eagle Eye just saved 184 people. The Federal Aviation Administration arrived with a team of 12 investigators. They spent 3 days examining everything. They measured the field. They studied the plane. They interviewed Captain Hayes for 6 hours. They interviewed Maria for 8 hours. The lead investigator, a serious woman named Janet Morrison, asked Maria hundreds of questions. Ms. Santos, or should I say Captain Santos, why did you leave the Air Force? Maria was quiet for a moment. I was tired. I saw too much death. I wanted peace. But you kept the radio. Old habits. You listen to it every day at 3 p.m. That's not a habit. That's a vigil. You were waiting for someone to need you. Maria didn't answer. Janet showed her calculations on her laptop. According to our engineering team, the plane needed exactly 1,847 feet to stop on that surface. You had 2,000 feet available. The margin for error was 153 feet. You stopped with 150 feet to spare. I knew about the drainage slope. You calculated ground friction coefficients in your head while talking to a panicking pilot. That's not normal, Captain Santos. That's exceptional. I was trained well. Janet smiled slightly. The Air Force told me you were the best landing specialist they ever had. They said you could land anything, anywhere, anytime. Today, you proved they were right. The news media wanted interviews. Maria said no to everyone. She didn't want fame. She just wanted to go back to her quiet life. But the story spread anyway. Farmer saves 184 lives. Hidden hero emerges. The ghost pilot returns. People found out about her military record. They found out she had served in Iraq and Afghanistan. They found out about the 450 aircraft she had guided safely to the ground in war zones. They found out why they called her Eagle Eye, because she could see what others couldn't. 2 weeks after the landing, Maria received letters. Hundreds of letters. Every passenger wanted to thank her. Sarah Mitchell, the pregnant woman, sent a photo. She had given birth to a healthy baby girl. Her name is Hope Maria Mitchell. The Maria is for you. Thank you for giving my daughter life. The old man, George Patterson, wrote, I'm 79. I've lived a full life. But because of you, I got to celebrate my 80th birthday last week with my family. Thank you for the extra time. The young mother with 2 children sent a video. Her kids were singing a song they wrote called The Farmer Who Saved Us. It was simple and sweet and made Maria cry. A businessman named David Chen wrote, I spent the descent thinking about all the time I wasted at work instead of with my family. You gave me a second chance. I quit my job. I'm spending time with my kids now. Thank you for helping me see what matters. A college student named Emma Rodriguez wrote, I'm 20 years old. I had my whole life ahead of me, and I thought it was over. Because of you, I get to live that life. I'm studying aviation now. I want to help people the way you helped us. Every letter broke Maria's heart and fixed it at the same time. 1 month after the landing, Maria had a visitor. A car came down her long driveway. Military plates. A man in Air Force uniform got out. Captain Santos. I'm retired. It's just Maria now. Ma'am, I'm Colonel Stephen Wright. I served under you in Afghanistan. You saved my life twice. Maria looked at him carefully. Then she remembered. Lieutenant Wright. The night landing at Kandahar with the damaged hydraulics. Yes, ma'am. You talked me through it. I was terrified. You were calm. You brought me home. That was your skill, not mine. It was your voice that kept me focused. He smiled. I heard what you did here. Eagle Eye is back. I'm not back. I helped once. That's all. The Air Force wants you back. Not to fly. To teach. To train the next generation. Show them that the skills we learn save lives everywhere, not just in combat. I'm a farmer now. You're Eagle Eye. You'll always be Eagle Eye. And we need Eagle Eye. Maria looked at her fields. Her quiet life. Her peace. Then she thought about 184 people alive because she answered a radio call. Part-time, she said finally. I still have a farm to run. Colonel Wright smiled. Deal. 3 months later, Maria stood in front of a classroom at Maxwell Air Force Base. 20 young pilots sat staring at her. She wore her old Air Force uniform. It still fit. My name is Captain Maria Santos. They called me Eagle Eye. You've probably heard the story about the plane in the cornfield. Nods around the room. Today, I'm going to teach you that everything you learn here matters. Not just in war. Not just in the cockpit. Everywhere. Every day. Because someday, someone is going to need your knowledge. And you have to be ready. She showed them the video of the landing. The plane descending. The final approach. The touchdown. The stop just feet from the trees. This landing worked because of math, physics, and communication. The same things you're learning here. The pilot trusted me because I knew what I was talking about. I knew what I was talking about because of my training. Training just like yours. A young woman raised her hand. Ma'am, were you scared? Terrified. But fear is just information. It tells you the stakes are high. It doesn't tell you to quit. How did you stay calm? Practice. In combat, I guided hundreds of emergency landings. After the first 100, you learn that panic doesn't help. Calm thinking saves lives. A young man asked, do you miss flying? Maria paused. I missed the mission. The purpose. Knowing that my skills mattered. But I found out something important. The mission doesn't end when you take off the uniform. It just changes form. She clicked to the next slide. Photos of all 184 passengers. These people are alive because I didn't forget what I learned here. Because when the moment came, I was ready. That's what I want for you. Be ready. Always be ready. After class, several pilots came to talk to her. They wanted to know more about her combat experience. They wanted advice. They wanted to understand how she stayed calm under pressure. Maria answered every question. She realized something. Teaching was its own kind of mission. Every pilot she trained might someday save lives. She was multiplying her impact. On the one-year anniversary of the landing, Pacific Airlines organized a reunion. All 184 passengers were invited. Maria didn't want to go, but Captain Hayes called her personally. Please come. People want to thank you. They want to see you. So Maria went. The reunion was held in a hotel ballroom. When Maria walked in, everyone stood up and applauded. She felt embarrassed but also moved. Sarah Mitchell was there with baby Hope, now 5 months old. This is the woman who saved your life, Sarah told her baby. Someday, I'll tell you the whole story. George Patterson, the 79-year-old man, was there with his whole family. This is Maria, he told them. The farmer who saved Grandpa. The young mother with 2 children brought them both. They ran up and hugged Maria. You're our hero, they shouted. Emma Rodriguez, the college student, was there in an Air Force ROTC uniform. You inspired me, she said. I'm joining the Air Force. I want to help people the way you do. Captain Hayes stood up to give a speech. 1 year ago, I was falling from the sky. I had 184 people depending on me, and I had no solutions. Then a voice came on the radio. A calm, clear voice that gave me hope. That voice belonged to a farmer. But she wasn't just a farmer. She was Eagle Eye, one of the greatest landing specialists the Air Force ever produced. She saved all of us. And she did it because she never forgot her training. She never stopped being ready to help. The crowd applauded. Hayes continued. Maria doesn't think she's a hero. She thinks she just did her job. But saving 184 lives isn't just doing your job. It's extraordinary. Maria, we owe you everything. Maria stood up, uncomfortable with the attention. Thank you. But I need to say something. I didn't save you alone. Captain Hayes made the right decisions. His crew stayed calm. His passengers followed instructions. This was a team effort. I just provided information. An older man in the back stood up. Ma'am, with respect, that's not true. I'm Dr. Richard Palmer, aviation safety expert. I've studied this landing for a year. Without your guidance, the plane would have crashed. Your calculations were perfect. Your instructions were perfect. Your timing was perfect. This landing should be taught in every aviation school as an example of how expertise and communication save lives. Maria nodded slowly. Then I hope it is taught. I hope future pilots learn from it. Because that's the real gift, passing knowledge forward. After the ceremony, Maria spent hours talking with passengers. Each one had a story about how their life had changed. The businessman who quit his job was now coaching his son's baseball team. Best decision I ever made, he said. A woman named Lisa Rogers said, I was going through a divorce. I thought my life was over. Then the plane went down, and I thought my life was really over. When we survived, I realized I had been given a second chance. I went to therapy. I made peace with my ex-husband. I'm happy now. Thank you for the second chance. A teenage boy named Marcus told her, I was really depressed before the flight. After we survived, I got help. I'm better now. I'm alive because of you in more ways than one. Story after story. Life after life. Maria realized that saving 184 people didn't just mean 184 lives. It meant children who would be born, marriages that would happen, dreams that would be achieved. She had saved not just people, but futures. Maria continued farming. She continued teaching at the Air Force Base 3 times a year. She found a balance between her quiet life and her purpose. Her story spread. Schools invited her to speak. Aviation organizations gave her awards. But Maria stayed humble. She never sought attention. She just kept doing what she believed in, being ready to help. 2 years after the landing, she received a special award from the president. The Citizens Medal for Exemplary Service. Maria stood in the White House, wearing a simple dress, feeling out of place among politicians and officials. The president said, "Captain Santos represents the best of America." She served her country in uniform for 12 years. Then she served again as a civilian when people needed her most. Her courage, skill, and dedication saved 184 lives. She reminds us that heroism isn't about seeking glory. It's about being ready when the moment calls. After the ceremony, a reporter asked Maria, "How does it feel to be a national hero?" "I'm not a hero. I'm just someone who paid attention in training and kept my radio on." "But you saved 184 people." Captain Hayes saved 184 people. He flew that plane. "I just talked." "You're very humble." Maria smiled. "I'm very realistic. We all have skills. The question is whether we use them when someone needs help. I just said yes when the moment came." 5 years after the landing, Maria was in her barn fixing her tractor again. Same tractor, different problem. Her radio was on, as always, at 3 p.m. The static crackled. Then, any stations, this is November 4-7, Charlie. We have an engine problem. Looking for advice. Maria put down her wrench. She picked up the radio. November 4-7, Charlie, this is a ground station. What's your problem? Ground station, we have an oil pressure warning. We're trying to decide if we should land immediately or continue to our destination. What's your current location and altitude? We're over Kansas at 6,000 feet. Destination is 20 miles away. What type of aircraft? Cessna 172. Single engine. Maria thought for a moment. November 4-7, Charlie, oil pressure warnings on a Cessna are serious. I recommend you land at the nearest airport immediately. Don't risk engine failure. Roger that. There's a small airport 5 miles west. We'll divert there. Good decision. Fly safe. Thank you, ground station. Can I ask who I'm talking to? Maria smiled. Just a farmer with a radio. 10 minutes later, her phone rang. It was the pilot of the Cessna. He had landed safely. The mechanic found a serious oil leak. If I had continued, the engine would have failed. You saved my life and my passenger's life. Thank you. I'm glad you're safe. Can I ask your name? Maria Santos. A pause. Wait. The Maria Santos? Eagle eye. The woman who saved that commercial jet? Yes. Oh my God. I can't believe I was talking to you. You're a legend. I'm a farmer. You're Eagle eye. After he hung up, Maria sat quietly. She realized something. Her mission never ended. It had just expanded. She wasn't just a farmer. She wasn't just a teacher. She was someone who stayed ready. Someone who listened. Someone who helped. That night, Maria walked through her fields under the stars. She thought about the 184 people from the commercial jet. She thought about the Cessna pilot today. She thought about all the young Air Force pilots she had trained. Her dog Buddy walked beside her, old and slow now but still loyal. "You know what, Buddy?" Maria said. "I used to think I left my old life behind. But I didn't. I just brought it with me. Eagle Eye never retired. She just changed uniforms." Buddy barked softly as if he understood. Maria looked up at the sky. Somewhere up there, planes were flying. Pilots were doing their jobs. And if something went wrong, if someone needed help, her radio would be on. As always. At 3 p.m. Every day. Because that's what Eagle Eye did. She stayed ready. She listened. She helped. And she would never stop. 10 years after the landing, Maria was 52 years old. She still farmed. She still taught. She still listened to her radio every day. One afternoon, she received an email from Emma Rodriguez, the college student from the flight. Emma was now a captain in the Air Force. "Dear Maria, I'm writing to tell you that I just guided my first emergency landing. A helicopter with engine trouble. Everyone survived. When I was talking to the pilot, I stayed calm and focused, just like you taught me. After it was over, the pilot asked who I was. I told him my call sign, Eagle 2. I took that name because you're Eagle Eye, and I learned from you. You saved my life twice. Once on that plane 10 years ago, and once by showing me that helping people is the greatest purpose anyone can have. Thank you for everything. Eagle 2". Maria read the email 3 times. Then she smiled. This was the real legacy. Not the awards or the news stories. The legacy was in the people she had inspired. The lives she had touched. The chain reaction of help that continued spreading outward. She walked to her barn and looked at the photo on the wall. Her old Air Force squadron. All those young pilots, ready to serve. Next to it was a new photo. The 184 passengers from the commercial jet, all standing in her cornfield, alive and grateful. And next to that was a letter from the Air Force, signed by 450 pilots. Each one was someone she had guided to a safe landing during her military service. The letter said, "Thank you, Eagle Eye, for bringing us home." Maria touched each photo gently. Then she turned on her radio. 3 p.m., like always. Static. Normal chatter. Small planes talking about weather. Then, in the distance, she heard a commercial jet passing overhead. She walked outside and looked up. The plane flew smoothly across the blue sky, engines humming perfectly. Everyone on board was safe. They would land normally at their destination. They would never know that below them, a farmer was watching. A farmer who would be ready if they ever needed her. Maria went back to work. There was a fence to fix. Crops to check. A life to live. But she was more than a farmer. She always had been. She always would be. She was Eagle Eye. The woman who brought people home. The woman who stayed ready. The woman who never stopped listening. And somewhere in the sky above her farm, someone might someday need her. And when that moment came, she would be there. Calm. Ready. Prepared to help. Because that's what heroes do. They don't wear capes. They wear overalls. They work quietly. They stay humble. And when the moment calls, they answer. Always.